1. All right. You should be able to hear the music in the background. Kyle, can you hear that?
Oh, yeah, I can hear it.
All right. Let me set this up still. We are streaming right now. I'll have to edit this out.
And I closed it out, but yes, I can hear the Foundry music playing.
There we go. Here we are again, folks. Episode 39. We're about to get started. Abomination Vaults, Pathfinder 2e. What a combination. Great stuff with great friends. Almost a full house once again. We never seem to have a full house, but we strive for it. And we're going to do some introductions, and then we're going to get right into the game. We got our semi-new player in here tonight once again. Dizzy. And also we're going to be bringing in another brand new character. Probably in a couple weeks. Maybe next week, we'll see. Well, we got another new character coming in. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, okay. Kyle, or Althea, let's do some introductions. You're up first, Althea. You're up first. Introduce yourself and your character and all that good stuff. Go for it.
Hey guys, it's Rachel. I play Althea Bidley. She is a gnome cleric who worships Desna, a deity, a goddess of travel, stars, and the like. I'm very excited to play today. We did some downtime, so now we get to see where our journey takes us this time.
Yep, good downtime last week. It was good fun. Kyle, you're up next. What's going on?
Hello there, my friends. I'm back again. Playing the dwarven fighter, savant, heartthrob called Arthurian. He's very fond of headbutting people on the hips. And I'm excited to be back. And we're going to find out just what's going on with this particular dwarf here in just a few minutes. But it's going to be a good session. Got some great friends. And we're going to see what kind of maiming shenanigans we can get into.
And bug snacks. But first, let's go to Dizzy. Dizzy, what's going on? Say hello.
Hello, I'm Dizzy. I play Alar Kingston, your friendly graveyard necromancer and all-time probably argumentative of the group. Definitely excited to be back and have more fun with the group, and definitely very interested to see what chaos I can create.
Yes, chaos. We need lots of chaos. Excellent. What do you feel about the game so far, Dizzy? This is like what, your third session now? You digging this?
It's my third session.
Yeah.
Definite loving it.
Excellent. Good. I'm glad. It's going to get better. You know it. All right. Who would like to do our introduction as we do? Not an introduction, but our from last episode. Who'd like to do that for an extra hero point?
I wasn't here, so I cannot partake in the exterminations of the descriptive potations.
That's right. You know what that means. You know what that means.
Not this time, Kyle.
You know what that means. Go for it, Althea.
Oh, okay, I guess I'm volunteering.
Yes, you are.
So last week we had some productive downtime. Everybody returned to Otari and split up. So Alara returned to the Druids, I believe, and she spoke of what happened in the Gauntlet. She spoke of these recent events. She also got some healing from the Druids. And then once night fell, she returned into the actual town or city of Otari in the shadow of night, She was feeling hungry, whatever that means. But she got stopped by a real shady guy who was rather suspicious of her and what she was doing. So he asks for something about her shoulder, about a specific mark, but she denied knowing what he spoke of. And she said, "What mark?" Um, and then that kind of snowballed into her covering his mouth and pleading, "Don't say what I am." And of course, all of this was interrupted by some footsteps, and they ended up, she ended up fleeing and dodged into a different alleyway to avoid this other person that was coming. And afterwards, she went to the Rowdy Rockfish, almost as if nothing had happened. Get some rest and downtime at the pub. But she ate and drank like nobody was watching. She. Alara, do you want to describe how you were eating? In the recap.
Basically just garbling. There is no tomorrow. Just like nom 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 nom.
And that's kind of where we rejoined. But meanwhile, while Alara was going through all of that, Althea and Sheppy visited the Dawn Flower for healing, research, and of course, some benefits. So Sheppy spent most of his time sleeping and getting pampered by the clerics and getting his wounds wrapped and got that good old magical healing. But Althea kind of went on her own and ran into Alana Moonglow, which is somebody she knows fairly well at the Dawnflower. But unfortunately, it was kind of sad news because she found out that Alana was leaving, but not before handing over a very thoughtful gift, which was wrapped nicely. And, Althea just took it, said her goodbyes, and thank you for all of the, guidance that she's provided, since technically Alana is the one who convinced her to join the companions in the first place, because she wasn't sure what her dreams were telling her. But they departed, and then Althea went on to speak to who she kind of was trying to get in touch with in the first place, and that was actually Vandy. She was trying to get Vandy and the Dawnflower Library to be on their side, to gain their support. And after this meeting and a lot of diplomacy checks, she was able to get her to join their list of supportive in-town allies. But yeah, after that, I think Sheppy woke up and they headed to the Rowdy Rockfish together, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Had a conversation with Alara there.
Yep, they had that conversation together. And this is where my notes get pretty watered down. I obviously was distracted by roleplay, obviously. But I think, they were just talking about they were just eating. That's the last thing I had written down.
Yeah, they had a little conversation, curious about Alara, and then you left the session at that point. You were waiting on Alara to make a decision, like, are you going to join us? And that's where you left off. And afterwards, Sheppy and Alara went to the graveyard and hung out and had a little conversation. What happened there? Alara, you want to pick up from there?
Oh.
So, Sheppy finally worked up. Well, I don't want to say work up the courage, but he finally was like, I'm not gonna be around a bush. I'm gonna get straight to the point. What are you? And Alara got really close. She's like, are you really sure you want to know what I am or what I'm capable of? And he goes, yes. And she's like, all right, grab a fish corpse and meet me up at the graveyard. So they make their way up to the graveyard, and they find I believe, hole along the one side of the one section of the wall. They get in, and she takes the fish corpse from him, places it in her hand, and as she's holding it out, she's muttering under her breath, and you begin to see the fish slowly come back to life. Not like actually alive, but more like undead alive. And as the two are talking, Sheppy's getting really excited, and she eventually tries to kill the fish, but he takes the fish and he eats it because he loves fish.
I'm sad I missed
And
that.
and so they talk back and forth, and he's telling her I think he was mentioning about the friends that he have, which are very few because of what he is. Correct. Hopefully I'm not wrong. And as he's in the graveyard with her, he spots something shiny, like I guess in some like underbrush. He looks at it and he goes over, gets down, digs it out, and I believe it's a bracelet of some sort.
He found a
And
magical bracelet, which he identified there in the darkness with his dark vision. And he gave it to you, I believe, as a gift.
He gave it to her as a gift, and he then said that he considered Laura as a friend, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
a lot in common. Outcasts.
And that's at some point, Alara looks around and I think they start getting tired. And Alara's like, I'm just gonna stay in the graveyard, find an empty coffin, and just sleep. And he decides to go back into town, goes to Althea's house, I believe. Tries to get in without making noise.
Yes, he snuck in. He snuck in through the attic, the upper window. You do have an attic, Althea, in your little abode. While you were sleeping, he snuck in. He made his stealth checks to be sneaky. There was a little hatch in the floor that comes down, and he carefully stepped down them. He left it open. He left the attic door open because it would be just much too loud to close it. And he snuck his way down, and he got to the kitchen. The big table was out, and there was this little box on the table, and there was something in it. And as he got closer, he saw Binley peering up at him in the darkness. And he winked at him. And Sheppy petted his little head and went, shh. All the while this is happening, there's horrendous roaring, snoring going on. It was Althea, having a really good slumber herself. But then Sheppy went under the table and he curled up into a little ball. And he quickly also started snoring horrendously. So it was a sawmill coming from Althea's little abode late at night.
Gonna get some noise complaints in the morning.
Probably. It's probable. Very probable. And that's pretty much where we left the session. Now, Alara and Rachel, you both get a hero point for that. Not you, Kyle. But the rest of you get a hero point. The rest of you get a hero point.
Thank you.
In the meantime, while all this has been happening, after returning from the Gauntlet earlier that day, seeing the loss of yet another friend, Marshall, felled in the dark caverns of the Gauntlet. Arthurian, briefly, what have you been up to in the past couple days? Because you've been kind of doing some things after your last exploits. And where are you right now on currently the 26th of Farast? About midday. Where are you?
I'm helping ferry stone for the monument to Dane, and helping to repair some of the stone buildings around town. Do some basic maintenance, helping out at Tamley's request. And yeah, I made on my way to the Otari graveyard to make a little shrine for the fallen companions.
Okay, make a public craftsmanship roll. Crafting roll.
14.
You will get some coin out of this, even if you were not looking for it. You got about 3 silver pieces. Not a whole lot, but you got some coin doing some extra work around town. So add that to your inventory. So, with Sheppy, Althea, and Alara, the night passes on the 26th and goes into the 27th. We are going to start this session at dawn, at daybreak, the 27th of Farast. Farast, of course, is early spring. I'll give you some context here from how we're set here. It's been almost a month since you've been exploring the Gauntlet and events have been happening. The attack on the graveyard, the meeting with the companions, the mayor, Rin Civixi, Lofter, and all that. The investigation. The companions have taken it under their wing or under their charge for coin to solve the mystery of the Gauntlet and prevent what is happening here from ever happening again, specifically the rising of the dead, the attack that obviously came from the Gauntlet. It's not supposed to be working. It's an old abandoned tower. But somehow it exploded with light. Well, it didn't explode, but light exploded from it. Aiming at the graveyard, the dead rose. Creatures appeared as if transported magically, according to Farley Tell, an elf wizard of the companions. Companions were heavily engaged, fighting these creatures. A meeting was held and it was agreed, you guys gotta do something and protect Otari. Rumor has it has something to do with the Dark Queen herself, rising from the dead, perhaps. Belcora, a name seldom spoken. And here we are, weeks later. Fallen heroes, Dane, his father, Marshall, and a few others. Now we have but 3 heroes, currently. Arthurian, 4 heroes. Arthurian, Sheppy, Alara. Althea. Who did I miss? There's 4 of you.
Sheppy.
Sheppy. All right, Arthurian, I'll put you at the Rowdy Rockfish. We're at the 27th of Farast the next day, morning. It's about 1 hour after sunrise. Althea. You wake up from your little bed below a window. Usually the sun shines through and hits your eyes, and you always wake into it. But today, not so. Your eyes slowly open as you hear the patter of rain. A light rain. A drizzle. On your windowsill. You look over from your pillow to see Binley. The table isn't far. And as you do, you see underneath the table movement. And as you look, you see this pile of familiar rags. Red. Black. It's Sheppy. As he moves and pulls his arms tighter to his chest. Binley, of course, is peeking up over his box, his little paws leaning over the edge. He's looking right at you. Morning has come to Otari. What do you do, Althea? How do you begin your day? What's in your mind?
I'll let Sheppy sleep. I understood I've seen what he's been through. I'm surprised to find him in my home underneath this table instead of at the fishery. I guess he never made it over there last night. That's all right. I'll just have to be really quiet so I don't wake him. So she kind of makes breakfast and lights some incense and just does her morning ritual, but this time very slowly, cautiously, and as quietly as possible. And then she says, "Binley, keep on guard. Make sure Sheppy's comfortable." And then Binley cuddles up with Sheppy on the floor.
Then you rush your way up to the steps and to see your attic. Door hatch wide open.
I see like a trail of mud.
Mud.
Sheppy, what if I told you I need a clean home? She's cleaning everything up and it leads her to the attic. I don't remember this being open. Sheppy, you have to close things. She would go up into the attic to make sure that nothing else is,
Windows. The window is wide open. He obviously snuck in.
I walk over and close it tight.
It closes. And you see the mud trail going in your backyard, leading towards the window. So yeah, he must have snuck in. It's then when you're up there and you're looking out the window, you take pause and you start to think about last night's encounter with Alara and the offer you made to her, the things you learned. Your mind also thinks about another fallen companion who you knew briefly. Marshall was his name, Dane's father. You think about that as you pause and look out the window and wonder what is next. Where is Desna going to lead me now?
Jeez, I'd imagine that Althea is in a bit of a depressive state, because not only does she have all of these sad, dark thoughts, but it's also gray and rainy outside.
It is.
She grabbed a towel and she's soaking up the rainwater that's fallen inside from the open window. She lets out a deep sigh. Are we ever going to win?
You notice the rain stops. It's still cloudy. It's a little bit dark for a morning. You make your way back down to the kitchen and plan your next moves. Perhaps the rowdy rockfish. Sheppy will be fine. He's been through a lot, near death. And you go about your way. Alara, you're surrounded by darkness. Your eyes are open. You feel the comfort of coldness and dampness in the air. You hear voices in the distance. You've got a little crack in the stone lid of this bed you've made. And you're able to slide it just a little bit. It takes a little bit of strength, but you slide it just enough to be able to peer outside and see the dark gray clouds. Memories are coming to you from last night. What do you do at this early morning in the graveyard?
Just gonna lay there for a few moments. Just slightly curled up, slightly straightened out, just laying in her makeshift bed that she discovered. Thinking about that she revealed to Sheppy and Althea's invitation to join the group before she looks at her wrist. She thinks about everything. And as she's kind of just laying there, just staring up through the little crack that she has in the coffin, looking up at the sky, she brings a hand up and she starts clutching at something underneath her clothing, just kind of in a unconscious gesture of like maybe something that she's trying to keep protected. And then she continues to lay there to see if she can listen to the voices outside and see what they're talking about.
They sound quite distant. You check over there, I'll watch the other side. All right. Sounds like it's coming from behind you, towards the north end of the graveyard. Somebody looking for something. It sounds distant, though.
Going to try and strain her hearing to see if she can gauge how far of a distance the voices are from where she is.
About 150 feet. 120 to 150 feet. Somewhere around there. That's pretty precise. But you're an elf. You got sharp ears. Not fearing for your life, you pull yourself out of the coffin. Partially buried, exposed. Looks kind of recent, actually, now that you look at it. The daylight. Something must have happened here not too long ago. You remember Sheppy describing undead rising from the graveyard. It was terrible. We fought a vicious battle with them. I think he was there. He might not have been, but this is what he was told. He lives in Otari, so he remembers this happening, even if he wasn't a member of the companions and actually fighting. It was right around that time that he came into the campaign. But anyway. Yeah. And as you look up to the north, you look from behind the cover of some of these stones, you see where the voices are coming from. Guards. They wear the green tabards of Otari's city guard. You see them quite often in town and around the town. You see the emblem of Otari. So you kind of go into a relaxed state at that stage. However, I'm not sure you're supposed to be in here. You're kind of new to town. So you might want to make your way out, you think to yourself. And as you look to the left, you'll see the little hole in the wall that Sheppy showed you. This is where he sneaks in late at night. Shh. And you could make your way carefully over to that hole and get outside. Or you can remain. What would you like to do? You remember you're speaking from last night with Sheppy that you were all going to get together at the Rowdy Rockfish. That was one of the things you had planned to do, but that's up to you. What do you do?
As much as she would prefer for it to be nightfall before she moves, seeing how it's been raining, a little cloudy, it's not too much sunlight outside, she's gonna try and make her way to the hole and then make her way into town.
Okay. Arthurian, you spend a lot of time at the inns here in Otari. Especially the Rowdy Rockfish as of late. That's where the companions have gathered, and you've been kind of wondering where they've been at and what they've been up to recently. You've got your own tales to tell and to share. It's still early morning. There might be 2 patrons in the place. One guy working in the kitchen. You do smell the familiar smells of fresh bread baking, meats frying. There are a couple patrons, including yourself. If you'd like to have a meal as well, you could also have one. Perhaps you are. Located at that familiar little table, if you so choose, that your companions frequent. Where are you in the Rowdy Rockfish at the moment?
Arthurian will be at the table. His gear sort of neatly strewn about the table as he's not really eating breakfast, and he certainly hasn't touched an ale yet, which is highly unusual of a dwarf as he ponders over what everybody's been doing, what's everybody's been up to, how's everything's going, gearing himself up to get ready to go back into the Godlight. He's got scrolls and an inkwell, and he seems to be writing something down.
It's about mid-morning. Oops. It's about mid-morning, Althea, when you make your way into the Rowdy Rockfish, and your eyes immediately go over to the table that you are familiar with, and there you see a familiar face. Someone deep in thought. Someone who seems to be writing something. It is the dwarf, Arthurian.
She'll immediately check in on him. She'll tap his shoulder.
How does she look? What's her demeanor right now?
Friendly.
No, like, I mean, like, is she happy? Is she sad? Like, could he know that she's sad from looking at her?
She's not sad. She's just kind of trying to get a fresh start of the day.
Okay.
So she looks cheerful because she recognizes an old friend, which kind of uplifts her spirit a little bit after having just lost one. So she taps Arthurian's shoulder. Arthurian, it's been a long time. Where have you been? What have you been up to?
As she taps on his shoulder, Arthurian sort of fumbles out the chair. Lassie! Mere, mere, mere. And he would attempt to give the gnome a big hug. Oh, I've been around town there, Lassie. Been helping out around the orphanage, getting them walls secured, getting them stones fixed. You won't have no rats in there no more. What fares the progress in the gauntlet?
Unfortunately, everything is not going well at all. We've lost another to the gauntlet. Things are getting really dire, and we could really use you again. I know you haven't had the best time down there. None of us have. But I feel like staying here is doing nothing, and my dreams are becoming worse and worse, and I'm afraid to go to sleep at night. I dream about the gauntlet.
Hearing the news, Arthurian sort of slams his hand down on the table, a very sort of angry demeanor for a moment. Why didn't you send word to me sooner, Lassie?
We've only just gotten in. Oh, just about all day yesterday. Shubby was gravely injured. We spent
You've been here for a day.
She's just like stuttering her words. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm here now. I didn't even know you were still in town.
Oh, Lassie, did I not give an oath to the companions to see this through?
So you're with us then?
I never left, Lassie. He would try to give her another hug. But no more dying. No more. The next person to die in this event had better be me, because if it's you or Sheppy, I'm gonna kill haul somebody.
She gets the little teary-eyed, like, no, nobody's gonna die. I won't let it happen.
He
Not
would sort
again.
of gently wipe her tear away. Settle down, Lassie. Sit down and let's have some breakfast. I assume Sheppy and all the others are on the way.
She'll agree to sit down with you, and she will fill you in on the events that has happened in his absence, including what she found out at the Gauntlet, and not the Gauntlet, what she found out at the Dawnflower Library during the last session, which, by the way, Kyle, we researched about werewolves and lycanthropy and the things and stuff like that, and we found out that it's more of a curse. It's definitely driven by the full moon, but when it's not the full moon, they kind of have some sort of control over themselves, but once the full moon's out, it's like they're a whole nother person. Yeah, there was another person at the Dawnflower Library that helped her find this out too.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, a rampage of savagery.
But yeah, he will motion for Broda to give out the good breakfast. He sort of waits for the others and sort of fills in out there that he's been sort of working to help the infrastructure of Otari. Sort of helping out the Otari Guard a little bit with how they how to properly set patrols along the roads and have rangers secure the roads and such.
Also, to point out that Althea does also mention, that you guys, during our adventure, we've been really focused on that. Every time we saw him, anyways, that werewolf guy. She mentions that it is the new moon tonight, and that in a couple of weeks is another full moon.
Right. So it should be relatively safe to go down there and gank him then, lassie.
Yes, if we wait 2 weeks, we might not be so fortunate the next time we see him. He may not be able to control himself. Or that wolf that was with him.
I could use a new pelt cape.
I think that might be his pet. I don't want to anger anybody. Then again, if they're in the gauntlet, they can't be up to any good.
They all skin the same, lassie.
And Arthurian has not met Alara, correct?
No.
Nope.
Well, she also brings up the run-in and the experiences with Alara. We've met this new strange individual, an elf, right?
Hmm?
Yeah, she's some sort of elven spellcaster. She's got beautiful white hair, but we know nearly nothing about her except that she's also trying to do some good. Maybe.
Alright. Seems to be we're an all hands on deck type of situation now.
And Alara, would you have made your way to the Rowdy Rockfish by
It
mid-morning?
would indeed.
All right. Then it's about that time. As you speak of Alara, Althea, that once again Alara makes her presence known. Surprisingly so. She's standing right next to the table, listening in on your conversation. You as well, Arthurian, did not notice that she had come in. And she stands at the head of the table. What do you say, Alara? If anything.
He comes in, looks around, immediately recognizes Althea. She's making her way over to the table. She spots Arthurian. Would she be able to have heard him talking as they were discussing about her?
Oh yeah, he's not quiet by any means.
She gets close enough to the table, she's gonna look at Arthurian with an absolute sheer disgust on her face as she looks at him. And then she's gonna wander over to the counter and just stand there for a little bit, trying to get herself some sort of drink, whether it be tea or wine or something that she can just sip on.
Can't hear you, Fred.
Coming right up, says the guy, partially balding, human, behind the counter. You don't see Brilda. And you often don't see her in the mornings. She's usually around in the afternoons or evenings. But yeah, get your tea. You could scoot it over to your table with the others. And of course, Arthurian has a big platter of breakfast. He's a hearty eater. He's got some breads, he's got some bacons and meats. Good hearty breakfast.
Oh, so you the new girl?
He stops drinking for a second and slowly looks over at him, just trying to be polite. She goes, "You want to say that again?"
Aye, you the new girl.
You better not be referring to me as what I think you are.
In what way would I be referring to you, lassie?
Now, I would assume you clarify this, Alara. Are you still kind of hiding your features with the cowl of your cloak? So you're not making yourself physically known, your face anyway, probably your hands maybe. You would notice this, Althea and Arthurian. It's hard to get a good look-see at this new person. You notice that. It's unusual, strange. Hiding something, maybe. She was like that last night as well. Althea. Very secretive. But anyway, go on.
Are you to be journeying with us back to the old gauntlet? We gonna get some.
Ignoring Arthurian, she looks directly at Althea, just trying to keep her calmness and not show her disgust at seeing a dwarf. She responds calmly, I have decided that I will be joining this group that you invited me to.
I'm so pleased to hear that. We could, I really mean it, we could use all of the help we could get, and you seem like a fairly able fighter. Your magic looks really strong.
Aye.
But are you certain? Can we count on you?
Her looks at Thea directly, as if she was trying to look into Althea's soul, and she goes, if I was not so certain, would I have come back and actually talked to you?
She's got you there, lassie.
I'd like to believe certain things, but I don't know, maybe I'm getting wiser with all of these adventures, but you can't always trust everybody. And we did just meet, but I don't think we have much of a choice anyways. Have you spoken to Rin Savixi yet? I feel like we should meet before heading out, or you should meet her. She's a pretty good judge of character, and I'd like her to pass some sort of judgment. And Althea's trying to mean this in like the nicest way possible.
I got business at Ren's. She could tag along with me if she liked.
If you don't mind, if you don't mind going with Arthurian, he's a real upstanding fellow. Always there to help you out.
I'd rather take a beating so you don't have to. Done that for quite a while.
That was implied. That was implied, Arthurian. I didn't think I had to say it.
Well, I mean, Sheppy ain't here, so I'm saying it for Sheppy. I mean, I did have a back alley brawl for that little bugger's honor.
Oh, that seems like forever ago.
Because it was forever ago. We're getting old, Althea. We're getting old.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I. I feel limber as ever. And he's going to sort of nod to Alara. I'm Arthurian, by the way. Whenever things go south, just get behind me. And Ren will be most likely available this afternoon, so I got some other business up there. You're more than welcome to tag along with me. Got some other supplies to get off the old gal.
During the whole conversation between Althea and Arthurian, Alara's just like talking in her head to herself, just trying to make sure she doesn't do anything she's gonna regret on the very same day she finally decides to join a group.
Act normal, act normal, act normal.
When Arthurian offers her the invitation to go with him to talk to this person, she at first looked like, for a split second, looked like she had this look like somebody had just slapped her before he instantly vanishes. And then she looks at him and she goes, "Fine, I will go with you."
Oh, jeez, lass, what pissed in your Cheerios this morning? You're up tighter than an ant crawling up an anthill. Or Sheppy trying to take my clan dagger.
Yeah, he's sneaky, that one.
Ah, speaking of which, where is the little scaly feller?
He's having a little bit of more R&R back at my abode. I figured it'd be best to let him rest. And he'll catch up later.
Oh, wait. At your abode, you said? Oh, Althea.
She like immediately blushes. No. And like she raises her voice. Like she's just embarrassed and caught off guard. No. He crashed. I wasn't even awake. He just stopped by.
Oh, Althea, look at you, lass. You're blushing, lassie.
I've got some shopping to do. I've got to go. And she leaves.
Arthurian is dying laughing at this point. Arthurian is dying. He is like filling the whole end with just this loud, boisterous, funny laughter.
Before Althea leaves, Alara would calmly remark behind her cup of tea, "You know, it's not uncommon for people to get with goblins, you know."
Aye, they have scaly and 3 tails, I heard.
I wouldn't know. Bye.
I'll see you at the stables whenever you're ready to depart.
Yes, we'll catch up later. Good luck at Rin's, and send her my best.
I will indeed, lassie. I will indeed. Just be sure to make the bed after you're done.
Alara instantly spits out her tea.
Wow.
By this point, all you see is Binley running after her. Like she was so embarrassed, she just left without her little
Arthurian
mouse
is just
companion.
dying laughing at that. And then he sort of motions for Alora to sort of come over to the table. If she does, then she would see sort of all the information that they've found so far from their past forays into the Gauntlet that Arthurian was a part of. He kept some detailed records and a few other things to sort of help catch her up on the overall mission to the Gauntlet.
I would eventually come over and sit down and inch her way over till she had gotten close enough to where she can see all the information, but still keep that wide distance between herself and Arthurian as she's looking it over.
That's what we got so far. We're losing folk, lassie. Not in a good way. Tired of seeing people die here. Good people, kind people. Tired of seeing folk die. Why, I'll be going back with you. We're gonna give it a proper go this time.
Okay, so Althea, you could go through your inventory. If there's anything you want to purchase, you can do so. Drag it to your character sheet. You are at the market or some other specialized shop in Otari.
Cleaning supplies.
And Arthurian, Alara, you as well. If you want to do your shopping right now, we could do that before the afternoon comes, and you would make your way over to Rinsavixi, if you wish.
I would definitely get our shopping and done before they go there.
So at Arthurian, got a new blade and some stuff. I gotta go purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to sell that wine.
Sheppy did that too. He
Yeah.
half price. There's definitely buyers in the market for wines.
I did have sort of a game question though, Fritz.
You do.
I was looking at belt pouches. How are they used?
A belt pouch? It's a pouch on your belt.
Yeah, but I mean, mechanically speaking, could I store like a healing potion and not have to spend the action to go rummaging through my backpack?
You'd still have to go through your pouch. It'd be the same thing. It's just on a belt.
It'd still be one action instead of the 2 actions for a backpack.
That's what I'm saying. Like, would it still take me 2 actions, or would it just be the 1 action to pull it out?
It would be an extra. It would be the same action. You'd have to spend an action getting it out. The thing with the backpack is if it's on your back and you're carrying it around, it's going to take an action to get to the backpack. And then you got to root through it for another action to get what you want, and you've got only 1 action left, like drink the potion. So it would take you 3 actions to do that. With the belt pouch, it's right on your belt. It's going to take you 1 action to root around in it and get what you want, and you have 2 actions left. So it kind of would give you an extra action. At least that's how I envision it. Depends on the circumstances, of course, but, technically, that's pretty much how I'd rule it. You'd save an action. You'd still have to root around in it.
Okay, so instead of taking 2, 1 to take off the bag and 1 to root, this will just be a 1 action to go in there and get it.
Yeah. If you were to say to me, I keep my dagger strapped to the very top of my backpack, right over my shoulder, I easily access it, that would be 1 action. Technically, it's in your backpack, but the way you're carrying it on your backpack, that's only 1 action. Very similar to how a belt pouch would be. Its contents are readily accessible.
Okay, so
Right.
kind of like you with your daggers.
Right.
Okay.
Scalanus.
I bought a belt pouch, a longsword, and a battle axe.
Okay. Alara, same with you if you want to pick up anything. You've been through here before, the market in particular, which is at the center of town. On the Otari map, you're not actually there. Your tokens are located Rinsavixis, but the market is down further in the south. But you can also get whatever you need. If it's marked as common, it is available in Otari. Let me rephrase that, because if it's not marked anything, then it's considered to be common. If something is uncommon or rare or unique, it will specifically say that in the traits of the item. So if there's nothing there saying whether it's common or not or uncommon, it is common. Okay, that's the way it's set up here in Foundry and in the rule books. And you can always ask me just to be sure. I'd like to buy a riding horse.
Where would I find all these items?
Your items directory, it's on the right side of the screen above the chat. You could left or right click the items directory. It's the one between your journal entries and your actors directory. That's your items directory. Do you see anything there? Should be all these folders. One of which says equipment.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. You could use the search items bar at the very top. It's a quick way to search for like sword or a potion, and it'll come up with all the results so you don't have to search through all these folders. Specifically the equipment folder. And when you find something you're interested in, open it up, it'll describe it, and it'll also list a gold piece value. When you're happy with that, deduct the coins from your inventory and then drag the item to your sheet.
How much were the wine? Like, was the wine?
20 each and 24, 60 half. Let me verify that actually. I think Sheppy had 3 of them, and it was valued at a total of 60, which makes them 20 each. Selling them at half price would be 10 gold pieces each. I think that's right.
Okay.
So you'll get 10.
I also have 3, so I'm just going to sell 2 and gain the 20 gold. Now I would like to buy some potions.
Okay, you can get those healing potions.
Yes, but the question is, like, what kind of support did they give us, if any kind of discount?
If you'd probably want to head on down to the Dawnflower, you'll get a 10% discount. So just discount 10% from the listed price, rounded up.
Okay.
So if it's 10 gold pieces for it, you'll pay 9. Save the gold piece. I don't know what the cost is, but yeah. You do get a discount.
I was going to get the lesser, which is a 12 gold piece.
Okay. They also offer scrolls, divine scrolls. So if there was a level 1, for instance, spell that you're interested in that you don't want to have to prepare, which you guys should have done by now, you can buy it as a scroll. Of course, you got to buy it. So there is that option too. And by the way, Laura, double check your spellcasting sheet. All of your slots should be back to max and available to you after your full night's rest. I think when you hit the bed symbol on your character sheet, it automatically does that. You might want to double check that. And of course, as a sorcerer, you don't have to prepare spells. You just need your slots back. So all the spells you have access to that you know are in your repertoire, you can cast. And you can cast them repeatedly, as long as you have the slots to do so. Essentially, it works pretty much the way 5e works with all its spellcasting. It's all slot-based. Same with the sorcerers in Pathfinder. Not the case with Althea. She has to actually prepare each spell separately. So if she wants to cast the same spell twice, she's got to prepare that twice. So it works a little different.
Alright, so I just bought 2 potions, and it was 21 gold and 6 silver.
Okay, you can do that. How about you, Arthurian? You all decked out?
Got a new longsword. Got a battle axe. Got a few potions of my own. Got some oil. Got a belt pouch. Got a bottle of bottled lightning.
That's right, you do.
Yeah, I'm just sort of waiting on Alara so we can go see Miss Vixie.
Okay. You all set, Alara?
Um, uh,
You can add some things later before you go anywhere else, but we could move the story along. But if there's anything you have questions about, throw them at me.
looking
Alright.
through the spells that she was curious about, how much would it cost to buy the spell Anticipate Peril?
Buy the spell?
Mm-hmm.
You mean as a scroll or something?
As a scroll.
The only scrolls available to you that you know of, you can't just buy them, would probably most likely be divine scrolls at the Dawnflower Library. You have heard that you have a little discount advantage there because of Vandy and the temple supporting your cause. But those would be divine spells. You couldn't cast them. There's other possibilities. You could go to Rin Savixi. She might have some. She does have all kinds of oddities and is said to have some magical ability, perhaps. You're not sure. You've never met Rin Savixi. But there's no stores that sell, that you know of, that sell any kind of potions outside of the Dawnflower Library. You'd have to root around for those. Or find them on your adventures.
In that case, she's going to hold off on the market and she's going to talk to Rin.
Okay. All right. So if you want, we'll move forward and we'll... I guess we'll assume that Althea's still doing a little shopping. That's her thing right now. Kind of avoid the eyes of her friends after that little conversation. I'll meet you guys later.
She's doing some window shopping. Bye.
You guys, Alara and Arthurian, once you've perused some of the shops and mostly the marketplace, you can make your way back up. Now, at the marketplace itself, you see all these tents, and there's all kinds of... It's all centered around a stone fountain in the center of town. You see all kinds of tents opened up. People are selling all kinds of wares. You've got some folks selling various weapons you've never seen before and armors. One particular tent has that. Another one, all kinds of little herbs and hanging from strings up on a wooden rod underneath the tent. You can see all kinds of feathers and small animal parts. Obviously some kind of alchemy. You see little jars and things spread out before him. You see that there as well. You also see skins and furs being offered and clothing of various descript. It's not a full marketplace, and there may be about 8 tents open at the moment at this time of day. There's not many people here, so you've got the free choice of the wares. After being satisfied with this, you make your way to the north end of town, Rin Savixi, with Arthurian leading the way. Althea nowhere to be found. If you're ready, we'll go to that scene.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right, and you'll see that location on the Otari map up there. There's a little green store sign. The green icon represents a place that supports you. Certain little advantages on your quests or adventure. People who are behind you and helping you out in some way. This is Rin Savixi. And as you approach this side of town with the river to the west, you see this little single-story building. There's a sign over the door, prominently displayed, of wood and paint. And it illustrates stars above what looks like to be some kind of cosmic scene, like a planet or something, some clouds around it. But you see these stars kind of around it and above it. Quite large stars. There's a door and a porch. You step on there. Arthurian, go ahead and ring that bell.
Yeah. Arthurian will step up there and loudly ring the bell.
All right, you knock on the door, I should say. But it takes a little bit, but you do hear motion on the other side of the door. And then silence. And then suddenly the door begins to creak open. And then goes quiet as it continues to motion, to move inward. You see this black room. It's very dark inside. However, your dark vision can clearly see that at a table sits a very tall, elven-like woman. And she notices you both standing in the doorway.
Hello, Mr. Vixie. How are you doing this morning?
Ah, greetings. You would be Arthurian, correct?
Aye.
Yes, the dwarf, I remember you. How goes your quest? And come in, please, join me at the table. I shall prepare some teas.
Alright. Arthurian will go inside and sit down. Sort of motioning with Laura to join him as he sits down. Oh, ain't going so well, lassie. Lost 2 companions now.
2 companions? But who would have fallen? There she is.
Dane and his father, I guess, Marshall, fell.
And she looks a bit saddened, and she goes quiet for a moment. You must tell me more. Come. And as you take a seat around the table, she stands up abruptly, and she makes her way to the left into that back kitchen area that you remember, Arthurian. Behind a drape. And for a moment, Alara, you're in this chamber. It's dark. It has a scent of burning candles, a pleasant smell. And as you look upon the walls surrounding you, this perhaps 20-foot square chamber, there is only the entrance that you came in and the exit that she went through that you can see. You do make out some windows, but they seem to be covered. The room is kept dark, with a few candles around the chamber, lighting the room and exposing what is on the walls. You see some bookshelves. You see some oddities, some trinkets displayed and hooked on the walls. You also see a couple tables on opposite sides of the chamber that have little vials and vases. It's a pleasant setting, comfortable. And as your eyes wander upon all these odd things, she makes her way back into the chamber, and she carries a small platter, and on the platter you can see little biscuits, and also you see 3 cups, as well as a large container. She sets it down, and she begins to pour drinks. This is a wonderful herbal tea. If you are of elven descent, you might recognize it. And her eyes lock on you, Alara, as she says that. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Rin Vixie, reader of the stars. And who might you be, my dear? And as she says this, her left hand reaches towards your hand. Do you pull away?
Looking the woman over, Alara tries to getting a reading on her because she has this sense that the woman is possibly hiding more than what she's portraying. And she's got this feeling in the back of her head that she might be in the presence of somebody who's far more older, more wiser, more experienced. And she doesn't know how to read them.
Okay, you definitely get that sense. She doesn't seem to be hiding anything, but you definitely feel the wisdom and the age behind these milky white eyes. You recognize the ears. They're quite long. But you also notice something else as you look her over. You notice a tail. You notice what are they called again? Sorry.
Her
Horns?
Oh yes, the horns. But what is the?
The hooves? Does
No.
she have hoven to
No,
her
she
feet?
she doesn't have hooves. Stop it.
Okay. That's a very long gown.
Tiefling is what I'm trying to remember. It's a word I can never
Oh.
remember.
Oh, I thought you were asking for features of
No.
tiefling.
I did
Okay.
too. Like I was sitting there going, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's got a tail. Pretty sure she's got.
You recognize the features of a tiefling. You've seen these individuals before in your travels. They are touched of demonic blood. A strange mix of elf and demon sits before you, Alara. That you do notice. But she's very calming in her speech and her words. And as she reaches towards your hand, which is now setting on the table, you don't pull away. And her hand makes contact with yours, first on the sleeve, the cloth that hides your flesh. But as her hand moves down, you can feel her fingers run along the backs of your hand, the back of your hand. You don't pull away, although instinctively you feel the need to do so, but for some reason, you freeze. And you feel a tingle on your flesh, a warmth, a comforting feeling. You feel compelled to leave your hand exposed before her. You notice that she's not looking at her hand. And she begins to speak. You have a strange darkness upon you, my dear. Is there something you would like to tell me? And her hand pulls away softly. How do you react to that? What's going on, Alara?
After the sensation of the warmth is traveling through her, hearing the voice coming from the woman, she would start to say who she was, but once she starts to say that, her mind would instantly snap and she would glance out of the corner of her eye, seeing Arthurian, and she would instantly just quiet herself and be very guarded. Not really sure how to now answer that question the woman asked.
Arthurian just sort of sits there sipping on the tea. Kind of really odd for a dwarf to be drinking tea, but he's rather fond of it. muted, Fritz.
It is quite pleasing, this herbal tea, although you're not accustomed to it. It's nice. As it seems to be normal here in Rin Savixi's little abode. Odd, but comforting. And Rachel, I did whisper you.
Alrighty.
I feel as if you hide some dark secret. Something about you. And Arthurian, you see, in the flicker of the candlelight, you do see the white, remarkably white, pallid flesh of your friend Alara, her hand being exposed. It's not normal. Something you've may or may not be experienced with. If you'd like to make a recall knowledge, now that you see something you didn't see before, the flesh, the almost bony features of the hand, and yes, also parts of the face as they're exposed. Although not
Yeah,
clearly.
I'll try the recall knowledge.
You can do that if you'd like.
What am I rolling?
Society.
But just as he sort of sees bits and pieces of her face, he'll sort of look up. Oh, you're quite pretty there, lassie.
Not just pretty, but beautiful. Absolutely astounding now that you see the features chiseled as they are, this pallid white flesh. You've never seen anything like it in your life. One of the candles suddenly goes out and creates shadows, and you no longer see the facial features, Arthurian, as you did. Why have you come here? And she looks at you, Alara. What is your purpose? I have not seen you before in Otari.
Hearing Arthurian say that she looked pretty, she would instantly grab her hood and pull it down as low as she could, trying to hide as much as she could of her face. The mask that she had made by one of the druids, I think it was Whirly, she would pull that up and try and hide up to her eyes, and then she'd look at Rin and very cautiously say, I'm traveling from one who made me who I am.
And who would this one be? Some dark being, perhaps? She questions you. I whispered you, Rachel? So essentially, she's trying to get to know who you are and what's going on. She's sensed something about you, perhaps with a mere touch. How much are you willing to reveal about your past and who you are, your ancestry? That's the question at hand here. Although I might add, this is up to you, but you do feel compelled to reveal things to her. But whether you do so or not is up to you. But you do feel the pull. There's something about it. But it is up to you.
So, keeping her hood down, she slightly pulls the mask down so it's not covering up her mouth. Gently taking Rin's hand, she would bring it up to her mouth and open it wide enough so Rin would be able to feel the fangs hidden underneath before letting the woman's hand drop.
And as you do so, she stops. As your hand is touching hers and you bring it to your mouth and you can feel her fingers. She's not looking at you, but she's feeling the fangs. She feels them. Her hand pulls away, index finger and thumb coming together, and her hand slowly pulls away from your face. And then her eyes turn to you. For the first time, you see her look deeply into you. Feel it. These pupilless, white, milky eyes. Okay, 1 second, Rachel. There's a macro for whisper. You can look it up and add it to your macro bar.
I've been trying to look for it this entire time.
Oh, no. All right, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
You have the blood of the vampire within you, do you not, my child?
Laura would instantly pull her mask back up over her nose, covering close to her eyes, and just go silent. As if affirming the now pretty much stating what Laura is to everybody in the room.
You reveal that? You say that? Or no?
Yep.
Oh, you say that. What does that sound like? What exactly are you saying? Arthurian's there. He will hear this. What do you say?
After Ren would say that she has the blood of a vampire, Laura would go, essentially a walking corpse of what I should not be and what I should never become.
Arthurian's gonna slowly set the tea down back onto the table. His eyes haven't moved off Elora.
Ignore that. I'm trying to whisper Rachel here. Ignore that. If you saw that,
Yeah,
I think you did.
He just looks at Elora and then sort of bows his head. I'm sorry you endured that, lassie.
Second after actually hearing Arthurian say that, a passing look of absolute shock of hearing a dwarf say that to her just has her stunned for a moment.
No one should have ever been made to do that. You have my condolences. And if you want to track the little bugger down, you have my support in that as well.
Rin's kind of quiet at this point, like as if she's contemplating. And as the silence fills the small chamber, after saying that, Arthurian, she says, "You are not to worry, my dear. You are safe here. Do not feel bad about yourself or the blood that fills your veins. For I myself have been touched. As you can see, And she reveals the horns on her head behind her ears. It is not often we see your kind here, I believe. In Absalom, there is a small Damphir. Group, we shall say. Perhaps you will find them if you travel there, if you so please. But regardless, you come with this friend of mine, Arthurian, the dwarf. I imagine you are helping him on his quest. Would I be correct?
She's willing, I'd vouch for her.
It is a dangerous charge indeed. Is this your interest, my dear?
Laura would eventually nod.
I see. I shall mention your name to the mayor. You shall be written in the log of those known as the Companions, so you too will reap the rewards of success in the gauntlet. Perhaps some more tea, and you could tell me more. Where do you hail from? And so on and so forth. And the conversation continues, if you wish, and she will pour more tea. A good hour has passed at this stage. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can do so. Now, Rachel, you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Did you figure out the whisper?
No, when I search macros, I only get so many. And Whisper Player is not among them.
All right. I forget what folder it's in. I'll have to bring it over. But
Yeah, it was on my like hot bar for the old maps, but not on this one.
it's in one of the macro folders that I guess I need to import so the players can access them. I don't remember which one, but
Well,
that's
I should
okay.
be able to just search compendium.
Yeah.
And then look it up. But toolbars.
And while you do that, I just need one answer. Do you investigate?
Yes.
You do. Okay. No whisper
For
needed.
curiosity.
Okay. All right, you go back to finding that whisper.
I shall.
Now, Arthurian and Alara, a good hour has passed and the conversation continues. And she's very friendly. She's very accepting of a new face amongst the companions. She trusts you, Arthurian. And you seem to trust this new face, Alara, amongst your ranks. More tea is shared. And if there's anything you'd like to ask Alara, or anything you'd like to inquire in, you can do so now. She does say one thing, though. When you find the time, my dear, come back. When the stars are out and the clouds are faded from view, I shall read the stars for you and see what awaits you. I'm sure you are interested. All for a mere story is all I ask in return. When you are free, my dear, come see me and I shall read the stars for you. And as she states this, her hand reaches up once again towards your arm. And you feel her wrap her fingers around your upper forearm and squeeze just enough to get your attention. And she pulls away slowly. How do you reply?
She would respond, I will do so.
All right. So this will mark off a little bit more time for this conversation, and she assures you, Arthurian and Alara, that she'll be added to the roster of companions. And yeah, whenever you're up for it, you can come back when the stars are out, and she'll read the stars for you. All right. So, if you'd like to do anything else, we can move forward here and vacate Rinse Vixies.
Actually,
Yes.
before Alara would leave,
Yes. What is on your
reaching
mind?
underneath her clothing, pulling up what appears to be a medallion of sorts, and she hands it over to Ren, and she asks very curiously, this medallion I've carried for as long as I can remember. My mother had it on me before she unfortunately met her untimely demise. She never told me what this was, but she told me to keep it close. As she places it in Rin's hand, trying to figure out how to explain what this medallion looks like. It's very colorful.
Is this something to do with your background? It's not
Mhm.
it's not a magic item or anything, right? This is an heirloom that you carry with you, right? Yes.
That is correct. The medallion would be almost as if she's handing over a priceless artifact. Very careful, as if afraid to perhaps cause the deity of the medallion to come out and possibly hurt her if something were to happen to it.
All right, you're showing her this. And what was your question about it again? Sorry.
Mother has held it in her possession for a long time, and then before she passed on, she gave it to Alara and told her to keep it close and keep it hidden underneath her clothing so her father would never ever see it.
Right.
Which is tied into the deity that she worships.
Ah, okay. Perhaps it has the mark of Shellen?
Right.
Okay. And is there something about it you want her to try and decipher, or are you just revealing this information to her? As like, you should know this about me.
She's revealing at the same time she feels like she is attached to the medallion.
Yeah.
Though she doesn't know what this force is that has her staying true to it.
It seems you are conflicted within. As you show me this medallion, I take it Shellen is your patron. Yes?
He would nod.
Yes.
Ah, patron of the arts, lassie.
Yes, you can see that this medallion, and Arthurian, if you're paying attention, unless she's hiding it, I don't know if Alara is trying to hide this from Arthurian's view, are you?
No.
Okay, so you can clearly see this. The symbol itself is a commonly seen symbol of Shellen. It's like this stone, and all around the outside of the stone is this bird. A colorful tail. It's beautiful. A beautiful picture. The symbol of Shellen. Your mother hath good taste, I see, for this is indeed the mark of Shellen. But I understand. And she looks at you with these milky eyes, but yet you feel like she's getting into your mind. And it's nice. You don't feel intruded upon. She understands as you reveal this to her. She understands the conflict within. She understands that, like many Dhampir, like you, they are in an eternal conflict within themselves, not by their choice. It's something they have to live with. And you feel the compassion from this tiefling, this understanding. It feels good, Alara, to reveal this to someone at last. Someone outside of those who've been always around you before in the past dark forces. Except your mother. But you feel good revealing that. And Arthurian, you now clearly looking up, you can see her face. You can see that this Dhampir, as they're called, you've never seen one. You have heard of them. But you didn't know they can contrast so much with what is seen as normal society. But you see it now. And you feel that
They're just in awe of it, just sort of almost mesmerized by it as he sort of listens, and he takes a note of the Shellen amulet. Takes special note of that.
and you would know this, but Rin reminds you of Shellen and how she is dedicated to redeeming her brother, Zan Kathan, who was corrupted by the dark side. And when these words come back to your ears once again and you're reminded of these things, Alara, you feel a connection. Now you understand Shellen's presence in your life even more. For her herself has been touched by the taint within her family, within her blood. Like you have this corruption, if you want to see it that way. Perhaps you never have. Maybe that's what's going on in your head. You're seeing the corruption your father put upon your family, your blood. And maybe deep down, you're being led to redemption, if that's even possible. I imagine your fingers clasp around that little amulet tightly, and you pull it close to your chest. Understanding what maybe you didn't understand before. Something has touched you. Okay?
You would immediately put it back around her neck and then slip it underneath her clothing.
Yes. And as you do this, it's just, you're reminded how good it feels, how comforting this whole situation is to you. To be around a tiefling, one like you, although you know what I mean. But the whole atmosphere is very comforting. You feel safe. It's probably one of the reasons you revealed something about yourself to what is otherwise a stranger, or strangers, looking towards Arthurian. So yes, if there's anything else you would like to do here, you can do so.
That would be it.
All right, so you've made a connection. You feel very comfortable with Rin, almost as if you've made a really deep friend without all the effort that goes into it. It's like something that you just feel so connected and comforted here at Rin's Savixes. And Arthur, and you notice this, there's something here, something happened before your eyes. Like, it, for a moment you start thinking to yourself, damn fears, tieflings I've seen before. Maybe there's something, maybe she's a tiefling. You start to think to yourself. But you know damn fears, there's something about them. Maybe they are tieflings, you don't know. There's something. You don't understand the whole thing. But yeah, you sense that about this situation.
See, lassie, the magic of Ren Savixi on full view. Told you she was captivating.
And as you make your way out to meet your friend Althea, it's about noon now. Let's go over to Althea real quick and see what's going on. Althea, you were making your way past the alleys, heading to the northern part of town, heading towards Rin Savixes for some reason, with your little shopping bags in tow. Suddenly, you hear voices. There's a commotion. Behind you, at the market, you turn abruptly to look and see. There, you see two men, dressed in brown and green garb, bows around their backs. Normally in town, weapons aren't often displayed. They're always put away, and swords are knotted, so they're not easy to draw. But these gentlemen look pretty rough. They look like hunters. And they just arrived. And there's a commotion. There's town guard arriving. Maybe 24 people at this point. Oh, what's going on? What happened? And as you turn to listen from the shadows, from the distance, you can't make out names, but it sounds to you like there was something. These hunters were attacked in the woods early this morning, and one of their number has gone missing. Fallen, perhaps. Who's to say? You can't tell. And it's just then that the town guard hustles them back in the direction of the Otari garrison, perhaps for questioning to find out what happened, but evidently these men were hunting out in the direction of the Gauntlet, and one of them went missing in the early hours. And as they're whisked away by the guards, things begin to settle down. Unless you do anything else, what are you doing right now? With your little shopping bags.
You just hear the sound of clanking bottles together. Got some potions. I don't know. I don't know if Althea would usually she's that's let's attack this with numbers then, like as a group rather than flying solo. But since they were whisked away by the guards, you know what? She might go. She's got an acquaintance there, Lofter. She's met with him before. They've talked. She's gotten others out of jail. Well, she could kind of fish some information too, especially since this all happened near the Gauntlet. It seems of relative importance, and maybe on their return they can keep an eye out for this missing person. So she'll follow the guards up to the garrison.
Okay, that's on the east side of town. All right, I'm gonna. Kyle, give me a number from 1 to 6.
2.
Okay. All right, as you exit Rincevixi's, what do you guys do? It's about noon. You had a good 2-hour conversation with Rin. You're feeling pretty good. What's on your mind?
As we leave Ren, Arthurian will just sort of quietly nod over to Alara. You had a rough road to hoe there, lassie.
Lar would simply say, I wasn't made this way, I was born this way.
Well, my offer still stands. If you ever want to go track down the little bugger that done that to you, I'd be more than happy to lend my blade.
As you have this conversation, something catches your eye. There's about perhaps 24 people on the street as you're walking down this main street. But one catches your eye. You're sure you saw Althea. Briefly. And she disappeared in one of the alleyways, heading in the direction of the east. Do you follow? Or do you say she's just shopping? We'll let her be.
Would Alara know this, or would
Arthurian
notice it?
Arthurian would. You didn't see this. Arthurian did. What do you do, Kyle? Or Arthurian? Sorry. You there, Kyle?
I wonder what that commotion's all about.
Do you follow?
Oh yeah, I'll follow.
Okay. It's not too far away, maybe 30 feet away. You get to the alleyway. You look down the alleyway, and you just see her round the corner and disappear again. You make after her, and as you get to the end of this alleyway, into another street, not far from the Otari garrison, there you see her. She looks like she's got some bags in tow, but she also looks like she's looking for somebody. She's like peeking. Occasionally she'll stop behind a box and start looking around. She doesn't notice you. And then she starts walking again in plain sight. You can approach her if you want.
Yeah, I'll sneak up to her. Hi there. How you doing, lassie?
Oh, shh. Quiet down. I'm just, I'm doing nothing. She's acting like she's doing something bad and got caught.
Well, I see you act like you're stalking a crate full of northern ale. What's
I,
the matter?
Nothing. I'm just following some guardsmen, just to kind of get some information. I just didn't want to bother them since they look so busy.
And
So I'm
as
just kind of going along.
as she mentions this, you look towards the Otari garrison. You see about 4 Otari guards, town guards. Looks like they're escorting a couple other men dressed in a brown and green garb with bows on their backs. They don't seem to have apprehended them or shackled them or anything or restrained them, but they seem to be escorting. That's what it looks like. And they're heading towards the garrison.
Oh, I wonder what that be about. Well, come on.
Yes, you're more than welcome to join me. I overheard them saying something about one of their own missing near the Gauntlet. They were out hunting. I was just curious, so I wanted to follow and figure out if any of this is related or if we could help in any way, because we are going to be heading back out at some point.
Right.
So the more
As
help
soon as
we
you're
can
ready
provide.
to go.
Well, let's see what they have to say first.
Okay.
Figured I'd also give my friend Lofter, if you remember him, seeing as he's the one that kind of threw Arthurian in jail.
Oh, I remember the laddie,
If that name sounds familiar to you, see if you can fill me
it
in.
had to happen because I had to fight for Sheppy, and that was worth it.
Stripped down to your loins.
Yep, I was stripped down to me nethery bits. So all I had on was my beard and my breeches.
Yeah, you can follow these guys. You get up to the main gates, and there's some guards there, and the others just passed through and disappeared out of sight. But you can make your way up to that same place. Come on in. They just took somebody in there. A couple of huntsmen. Some type of commotion in the woods.
Alright, that'd be what we're here to ask about ourselves, if you let us. Where's Lofter at?
He'd be in his office, I'm sure. Just follow go to the main entrance. They'll let you in. And they do.
Alright.
They do. And you do find yourself in Lofter's office. He's not there at the moment, but you're sitting in these little chairs and stools. Briefly, when you got in here, you heard a ruckus. And then it quieted down. It sounded like it was coming from the basement, area you're familiar with. Arthurian. It's where they keep those who've done bad things. Beat them with rubber hoses when no one's looking.
The cells.
The cells. Suddenly, Lofter enters the chamber. Ah, my friends, welcome. What news do you bring of the Gauntlet? Good news, I hope.
No, lad.
It's the Gauntlet. There's never good news.
We've lost 2 companions now.
Oh, this is sad indeed. Who might that be? And he asks this, and you reveal he's definitely saddened by it. He sits down in quiet contemplation as you begin to tell the tale of those who've been lost yet again. You inquire about what was happening here, Althea, and it turns out that early this morning, a few huntsmen, were doing their rounds, only this time on the western portion of the woods, near the Gauntlet Road, which they don't usually go, and sure enough, they were attacked. One of them went missing. Wolves. They were attacked by wolves.
Did they see which way they went? Where the wolves dragged their friend off to?
According to them, they couldn't tell. They ran for their lives. These were different wolves. They were different somehow. They weren't the typical wolves you see wandering the forest. These were big, vicious. One even said that its eyes glowed red. They left their friend behind. They weren't going to risk their lives looking any further, and they ran back to town. This is some hours ago. Again, this is in the direction of the Gauntlet itself.
Just out in the woods.
It's in the woods. In the woods.
Okay.
If you look at the map, you'll see the woods is pretty big, and that little road that leads to the Gauntlet. It really cuts through it. So they were up in one of those portions of the woods there in the west, around the Gauntlet area, which typically, from what you understand, according to Lofter, huntsmen don't usually go up there. Occasionally, but not often. Maybe it's because of the owlbear outbreak. Who knows? They're kind of going in a different direction now and testing the waters for new game to bring in and sell. But one of them went
a
missing.
description of the new hunter. Or the missing hunter, I should say.
Looks pretty much like them. He would typically be dressed in a brown and green garb, almost like a camouflage while they're hunting. They usually use bows. Very woodsy type individuals, you can imagine. Like the ones you briefly saw. But
So he'd be a rangery type.
Well, a ranger looks more like a huntsman than the other way around. But yeah. But he says, Lofter says to you, be careful. Watch yourself. If wolves are indeed increasing in numbers, packs of them attacking, who's to say at this point? This is the first we've heard, although we know it's dangerous in those woods. Probably because it's close to that accursed place, the Gauntlet. But be wary and keep your eye open for a missing huntsman. We'll be sending patrols up there shortly and do some searching ourselves. Do you intend to head back to the Gauntlet, in fact? When are you going? Perhaps we will join you.
I believe that is our quarrel now. We're debating on that very thing, but something else you might want to do, Lofter, is post more of these rangers in the woods. Set up sort of a relay system. The way if they see any wolf numbers growing, you at least have some sort of warning system.
That is a good idea. Thank you for that, Arthurian. I shall make a note. Is there anything else you'd like to inquire about here?
When do you intend to set off for the Gauntlet?
Men are gathered now. Whenever you are ready. A few minutes at most. And as you look out the front window from his room, you can see there is a collection of about a dozen town guard that have gathered themselves. On foot, no horses. Armed with spear and bow.
I may.
Yes, you may.
During this interaction between the group and the person they're speaking to, Alara would be glancing outside and just watching people to see if there's any person that's kind of making themselves stick out, because she knows from experience that where there's a group gathered, there might be somebody that's not meaning good. If you catch my drift.
The only people you see looking out the window, you're inside the garrison at the moment, stone building. The only people you see is the guards themselves. Now in the distance there's some homes and you occasionally see people walking around, but not clearly. There's no big gathering of town dwellers. So, yeah, you do see the guards gathering. Nothing unusual about that. If you would like to use an exploration activity while we're doing this, you can do that.
Gonna do that.
That would be, in your case, investigate. Use your call knowledge to discover clues. Search. Concentrate. Seek for hidden doors. And that's not what we want. Is there something I'm missing here? Or is it investigate? Just so I know what to check for as you go about town.
I
And
think it would be investigate.
Well-
Yeah, it sounds about right.
what exactly are you trying to do?
She's trying to see if there's anybody that's trying to listen in on what's going on, trying to see if there's somebody not meaning any good, trying to
Okay.
get a head start on maybe what's coming up.
So essentially perception.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'll assume you're doing that while this is happening and you're wandering through town.
Yep.
So if something does come up and you're near it, I'll make a secret roll for you. And you might have some information shuttled your way, Alara. Pretty cool. That's how that works. Technically, this is kind of a downtime exploration mode. Normally, these exploration activities happen during exploration mode specifically, but they can also apply during downtime, depending on the circumstances of what's happening, like what's happening right now. So, just to explain that, since you're learning the game, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, so where we are right now, I guess you guys are going to gather up with the guards. Lofter won't be joining, but there is a sergeant of the guard who will be leading the other guys. Again, there's about, what did I say, a dozen, I think. Did I say a dozen?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Let me write that down so I don't forget. There's a dozen of them that have gathered, armed with spear and bow, ready to join you. Lofter spoke to them, and they'll be joining you up the path. But they're probably going to divide up, they let you know, and go into the woods. Of course, you guys are heading for the gauntlet, so you'd be sticking to the main road. Keeping your eyes vigilant, of course. You never know what happened. But, yeah. If you'll be joining them, you can do that. If you just want to move off to the gauntlet, you can do that. Whatever you want. But we're going to pick that up after a short break of 5 minutes. How about that? All right?
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me. I'll be right back.
All right. All right, folks. We're going to take a short intermission and gather ourselves. We'll be right back. We're back. Part 2 of tonight's episode 39. Got the companions gathering with some guards. We're on their way to the west wood where the gauntlet lies. Probably going to tag along with each other as they keep their eyes open for some wolves or whatever, or a missing hunter. Something happened this morning. And we have Althea, the gnome cleric. We have Arthurian, the dwarf fighter. And a newcomer, Alara, a Dampier with magic capabilities. We'll see how much more we learn. All right, so that's the situation. You've gathered yourselves outside of the Otari garrison. There's a sergeant of the guard leading them. This total of a dozen guards who clearly have a mission to go into the woods, split up, and go left and right into the woods itself, off of the road. So we'll do just that. You make your way up to the north gate into the town and head off to the west, passing the stone circle. Alara, where you remember where Whirlwind was, and continue on into the forest. Let's see, how do I want to present this? Let's go to the upper... Well, let me go there. At this stage, if you want to use an exploration activity, now's the time to do it. This is definitely exploration mode. The danger of attack is definitely up at this stage because you're now heading into the woods. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. About 30 minutes in this case because they're kind of going slow and you want to stick together with the guards, I guess. At some point, they're probably going to split off from you. But let's do exploration activities, starting with you, Althea. What would you like to do while you make this trek?
I'd like to track.
Track?
Yeah, we're trying to look for something. I think that'd be the best choice.
How about you, Arthurian?
I would like to draw my longsword and scout ahead.
Scout. And
I'd
Alara?
like to scout away from the group.
How far?
We'll say probably 30 feet ahead of the group.
Okay.
Group and the guards.
Okay. Just not out of sight.
No, but close.
Okay. And Alara, what would you like to do? Just describe to me how you imagine Alara moving along with these guards and Althea as a group. Something you specifically want your character to be doing, like we talked about before with investigate or that kind of thing? You just describe to me what you're doing and I'll decide what that is.
We were trying to be stretching out her senses to see if she can pick up any kind of arcana essence outside of the group.
You're not casting a spell or anything, you're just using your skills and your awareness to do this. Okay. Alright. In this case, it's probably going to take a little longer than half an hour. You get about halfway up, about 15 minutes into the journey up the trail. The guards are with you. They haven't departed you, and they're following in behind. You're leading the way. Sergeant of the guard directly behind you. Who's first, by the way? Arthurian, you lead. Okay. Forward. And how about the...
Probably take up the back.
Okay.
I'd probably be right behind Arthurian.
Okay. There's only one spot left.
Well, we're traveling with the other guards, too.
They're behind everybody.
Yeah, Laura would definitely Yeah, Alara would get behind everybody just to try and see if she can pick up a different aura of magic that didn't belong to the group.
Okay.
If her abilities allowed her to. And hopefully you caught all that.
I got it. Now, what I want to do for Dizzy, I want her to see the entrance of this place. We haven't been here in a while. I'm going to bring you guys to this main map here. Because you haven't really seen this place too much, Alara. Only on the way out. When you get to this map, anyway. 15 minutes into the journey, the sergeant of the guard speaks up. Halt, we're going to stop here. You men, get ready to go to the left. We're going to go into the right. What about you? And he looks towards you, Arthurian. Oh,
I'll
sorry.
be scouting ahead, lad.
Yeah, you're not even there. You're kind of in the distance. What about you? He turns to you, Althea and Alara. What about you? What are your plans? We're gonna go off into the woods and look for this missing hunter. And then as this is declared, you see some of the men shuttling off to the left, and occasionally you hear them one shout out like they're calling to somebody. Making quite a bit of noise, actually. What do you do, Althea?
To my knowledge, our plan was just to go to the Gondolight and just do a general search. And if we see something, we see something. If not, then it's up to the guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we just making this priority to the Gauntlet?
You saying this to Alara?
Yes, fellow companions.
And Arthurian, you could come back and discuss this as well if you'd like. The group is halted at this stage to see what's going on.
I figured this would have been discussed like at the very beginning.
I gave you every opportunity. I gave you every opportunity. Nobody said anything. Go ahead.
Oh, they're branching off. I'll keep scouting ahead there a wee. I'll go a little further out and you guys can work up to me.
Alright, should we tell them to worry about us too in case we go missing? Or we just we part ways, and if we happen to find this traveler, we find them and then kind of hand him off.
If we find him, then we simply hand him back over to the guard and they take him along their way, and we go into the Gauntlet and start whooping some arse and taking names.
Okay, so you're going to keep moving towards the Gauntlet, keeping your eyes peeled, but you're not helping the guards, really. You're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I am tracking for the footprints of the travelers and or the wolves, like a pack of wolves.
You are.
I'll go a little further to just outside of eyesight.
Okay.
And
But
keep scouting ahead.
the only thing I need to know, Kyle, is one thing. Are you leaving the road?
No.
Okay.
I'm walking along the edge, sort of off on the bushes, kind of, but very close to it.
Okay. Now, you continue on for another 10 or 15 more minutes. The guards have disappeared from your sight. You occasionally hear noises coming from the forest. Obviously, it's the guards. You hear them calling out. But they're getting more and more distant. They're not coming close to the Gauntlet itself. You're kind of leaving them behind. Althea, you don't see any prints out of the ordinary. You see an occasional animal print briefly, but it doesn't look like it's necessary. You see some hoofed prints. More like a boar than a wolf. You don't see any of that. Yeah, you don't really see anything, actually, until as you get close to the gauntlet itself. The ground gets softer and softer, and you approach the fen itself. Now, this is a big open space, Alara. You've been here before, briefly, and you see what looks like the most prominent thing you see in this relatively open space with low vegetation, the forest kind of behind you at this stage. You see this great tower. It's white. It rises about 100 feet from what you can tell. It's a lighthouse. There's no water here, although it's a fen and it's, there is some water here, but this isn't like, next to the sea. At some point, the sea must have been very close here. Go ahead and make a perception roll. Blind. Alara. This is to see if you can sense something about this place. The tower. As you approach it, although it's like the middle of the day, it's very cloudy, so it's a little bit dark. Your vision is very keen at this moment. You briefly see at the very top of this tower, this gauntlet, this glow of blue. It's faint and it lasts only a few seconds before it dissipates, like a pulse. And you only see it once. And as you draw nearer, Arthurian leading the way, you come upon this old ruined gatehouse up ahead with two double doors opened. Debris stretched all around the ground in front of the doors, kind of keeping them open. But you see this gauntlet tower, and all around it you see all these ruins. There's walls that have fallen in. There's some structures that are somewhat intact. You see overgrown swamp as well. It's quite loud, actually. You can hear the bugs and the crickets and the frogs and stuff making noise. And there's a stench of stagnant fluid death. It's not overwhelming, but it's definitely noticeable. It's not Arthurian either. But yeah, it exists. And as you draw near to this gatehouse, you notice that on the opposite side of this gatehouse, there looks to be some type of water. Like it's running between the gatehouse and the gauntlet itself, the tower. And off to the left and the right, it's like a lake almost. You can see this stagnant water with floating vegetation on top of it. And occasionally a ripple breaks into the water and dissipates. And of course, this is the map. You can take a look around there and see kind of what it looks like. But anyway, this gatehouse is right up ahead, and you cross through this portal and you see ruins around you. You could recognize this. You made an escape here the day before. You left this way. And as you travel inside of these ruins and get closer to the Gauntlet Tower itself, it's dark, it's shadowy in here, but not to your keen eyes. Occasionally you catch a moving shadow, but there's nothing there. Occasionally flies try to get up your nose, and it's annoying. Eventually, you're led to a set of steps that descend, not at the tower itself. The companions are avoiding that for some reason. But instead, they turn east and north, and in this chamber, there's a set of steps that lead down. You travel down deeper into the depths, and you get into a cave-like area that you travel through. And again, Arthurian's leading the way, and there's all these chambers and hallways, lots of ruins, things dangling from the ceiling that were some type of construction. You see cogs and wheels broken. You see rusty metal everywhere, broken wood, some of it waterlogged. And again, occasionally you hear a noise of an echo in the distance. You see movement, small creatures. Maybe they're 3 foot tall. You just catch them. You can see color occasionally with the light flickering off their bodies. Some type of blue coloration to their flesh. But Arthurian ignores them. Let's keep going. We gotta keep pushing on. Ignore them. Gremlins. That's all he says. You push on forward until you once again come to another set of steps, hidden by a secret passage with strange yellow writing on it. Secret door here, it says. Somebody wrote that. Interesting. You make your way down that passage and set of steps. Reaching the bottom of the set of steps, maybe 30, 40 feet, you look to the left, you see another chamber. To the right, you see a hallway. Directly in front, you see another set of steps going forward. Arthurian avoids the north and the west, turning instead to the east. Come. We had supplies up here. We had a stash. Oh. So I was told. Althea would mention, oh, they're long gone. Somebody took our stuff.
Well, let's get it back.
Arthurian continues, comes to a door, opens it. Alara, you see in front of you this large L-shaped wide corridor, maybe 20 feet wide, lined with bookcases, old books and tomes and scrolls, some of it fallen to the floor. When you enter this chamber, it also smells even more of death and decay. As you head north from this chamber, you definitely smell death. And there you can see hidden underneath some bookshelves, it looks like rotting bodies. Human-sized, kind of tucked under the bottom of the shelves. Horrible smell. Arthurian doesn't waste time here. Althea helps Arthurian guide his way through here as well, because he's starting to get unfamiliar with the layout. You go into a chamber which seems to be magically lit. Alara, you sense the magic in this chamber to the east of that library. It's a comfortable room. Above is this light that burns and fills the room with magical light. Arthurian pushes on, Althea behind. Another chamber is revealed, one very similar to that one. A nice sofa chair. Looks very comfortable. More books. A little fountain. The smell of incense fills the room. It's very pleasant in comparison with the death and decay behind you. You pause as a group and you look and you see that there's a door behind what looks like a broken couch. Althea steps forward. We must go here, down below. That's where we left our friend, Marshall. Arthurian grips the haft of his axe and proceeds through the portal, pushing the couch to the side. You come and you immediately enter a very dark, empty chamber with a set of steps leading down even further. You descend. It's at this stage. Well, let me take you there. As you reach the bottom,
We'll lay him to rest.
As you reach the bottom of the steps, and Arthurian, leading the group, peers inside, and you see another lit room. flickering with unnatural light. You see bones scattered around. You see a long dinner table in the center of this room. Plates, cups, some turned over on their side, like there was some abrupt event that occurred in here. Bodies fell in here. Something happened. Skeletons clutching at their throats. What madness. But this is the chamber I'm going to take you to as we proceed. Now, Alara, I don't think I'd discussed this before, but what I typically do outside of combat, is I have a token of a torch, okay? And this is what I call a party token, and it's the only token on the map. And I basically move it based on where you want to go. So everybody, including yourself, Kyle, Rachel, have vision from this token. You all share ownership of it. It's the party token. And it shows light based on whatever you have lit. So I'm going to take you to this map. You're going to see this torch. And you'll know what I mean. You'll see exactly where you are. Just let me double check. Make sure I don't have any of the tokens. What?
I did have a GM question once we get into the room.
Okay. Let me bring everybody to this chamber. Where are we? Let me bring everybody to this chamber. Let's center it here. Save. Get ready. And that's going to load. And this will be that long room that I just described. Arthurian in the lead, followed by Althea. Alara, you are in the rear.
Alright, I see it.
Or saps.
And for good
Like
measure,
they were felled while they were eating.
for good measure, let me read for Dizzy the text for this chamber. A pair of brightly glowing chandeliers illuminates a long banquet table surrounded by luxurious high-backed chairs, Alara. The table itself is still set as if a grand meal had been prepared, but some of the place settings are scattered and toppled, as are a few of the chairs turned over. As your eyes glance left and right around the perimeter of this table, there you see not one, not two, but 4 skeletons in tattered finery, scattered about the room. Some reaching at their necks as if clutching them. Webs surround the ceiling. Rotting, decayed food, bones decorates the table. It's unsettling, even for you. What do you do, Arthurian? And one more thing.
Did we proceed down?
One more
Sorry,
thing.
Fred.
One more thing. Out of the 3 of you, only Althea has been here before. So keep that in mind. This is new location for you, Arthur, and you've never been here, and it's very, very unsettling. Okay. What do you do?
Which way should we go, Althea?
Oh boy, I'm trying to recall every place that we've been to because everything's black.
Could try that southern door down there.
not quite sure I've visited down that door. I know to the left it led to the kitchen. And that further led into this hidden doorway.
Is that where you lost Marshall?
Towards that direction.
Did you
Yes,
lay
but
him
much
to
deep.
rest?
I don't think we did, no.
Would you like to lay him to rest?
I believe we owe it to him, yes. But I don't know if it's safe.
Arthurian sort of brandishes his longsword. Lead on, lassie. We carried Dane out. Now we're gonna get Marshall out.
The group is heading in that direction. Alara's gonna be moving over to one of the corpses and looking it over to see if it's mostly intact.
Mostly attacked? What did you say?
Intact.
Intact? Yeah, you can.
It has arms, legs, the
Yes.
limbs, everything.
Yes. No check required. You can see that the bones are still. Nothing has been disturbed. It looks like somebody died here and fell here. And is decayed away. Now, Thea, you recall there were strange glowing orbs that appeared around these bodies and attacked you. But you somehow overcame them. But there's no sign of them now. You also remember to the south of this chamber was some grotesque, horrible creature that you only briefly saw, Althea, as it pursued you up the steps from whence you just came. You also recall, in the east of the chamber, Chapt was exploring on his own as he does and encountered some type of ghostly apparition, a poltergeist type of thing. He screamed, and he ran from the room. You didn't explore over there anymore, but instead, to the west, as you mentioned, Althea. Ahead of you lies a kitchen. And on one of the walls of that kitchen was all these forks and knives, and you manipulate them a certain way, and a freaking door opened up for you. And you all went down that direction, which led to Marshall's demise. So that's your bearings. And I tell you this, Althea, because you're the only one that remembers.
Yeah, I forgot about this
You did.
doorway.
You did.
Yeah, I remember the storage rooms up there. That's where we got the wine. I don't know. We were kind of heading in this direction before we had to make our escape.
Because obviously we had a fight with somebody down here, and we had to run for our lives. I remember that part.
Yep. Althea is very hesitant to head towards the southern door. But if we're to find Marshall, it would be this way.
Thurian will follow behind Althea, sword at the ready, hand on his belt pouch.
You going to the west?
Yeah, I guess so.
The kitchen.
Retrieve the bodies of the fallen.
Right. Where'd the doors go?
Alara? Alara's gonna wait for them probably to move into the next room before she's gonna kneel down beside the one corpse that she inspected, pull her hood back, and she's going to pull one of the skeletons close to her, and as she's doing so, her eyes begin to glow this dark purple as she begins to cast Animate Dead.
Thurian pulls a flask of oil from his belt pouch.
Put that in the chat, please.
Will do.
Yeah, this is pretty cool, actually. And as the door opens and you peer inside, cautiously, Arthurian, you hear muttering of a chant, actually. Strange arcane words coming from behind you. Where Alara is, you turn abruptly to look behind you and you see tendrils of black, wispy energy coming from her fingertips as they come out to her sides, and she is looking down at this. Are you kneeling?
He is indeed kneeling over the corpse.
As Alara is kneeling over this corpse, and you see these tendrils going inside and weaving through the rib cages and bones of this skeleton. Let's read this. Your magic dredges up a corpse or skeleton and fills it with necromantic life. You force the dead to fight at your command. You summon a common creature that has the undead trait, in this case a skeleton. The undead trait, and whose level is -1. Okay. So you're going to have what, a skeleton bodyguard walking around with you? That's pretty cool. This is new.
He's going to be talking to it in Necrol before standing back, and then still speaking in Necrol, she's going to order it to stand.
What are you doing?
This creature gains the summoned trait. Heightening the spell increases the maximum level of creature you can summon. Alright, well. Let's see what I need to do here. Let me look this up, and then I'll describe what is happening. How long does it take to do that?
This duration sustained up to 1 minute.
Yeah, it's a 3-action up to 1 minute spell.
You all pause, and you kind of shudder, Arthurian, as you reach for something towards your belt, and you see suddenly this skeleton body begin to move in motion. You hear its bones scrape against the stone floor as its arms and fingers begin to clasp at the stone. It begins to rise as the magical black tendrils go through its body from head to toe and out its eye sockets. Suddenly there's a flicker of light within its eyes, where its eyes should be. It rises up and begins to stand. What do you do, Arthurian? You see this.
Arthurian's gonna drop into a combat stance. What are you doing, lassie?
This creature appears next to you, Alara. You're still kneeling down, but it is now standing above you. Almost protective-like. It has no weapons. But it stands there, as if awaiting a command.
He slowly stands up and turns and faces where Arthurian and Althea are. Her eyes just glowing this dark purple. And then, kind of ignoring Arthurian's question, she orders the skeleton at her side to find a weapon.
Arthurian pulls a pint of oil from his belt pouch. Stands ready to protect Althea.
Althea, you turn around and see this. All you see, after hearing this chanting noise behind you, is this skeleton standing next to and above Alara, and Arthurian in a defensive pose in front of you.
Thinking on a response, and it's one of those, like, how do I role play this? Because honestly, Althea would she would cast something on it and she would engage in battle, seeing this undead creature come up. So she would cast Disrupt Undead.
Alara would instantly step in front of the skeleton.
then it's going to be cast on you.
I'll engage the undead. That don't matter to me. I'll advance.
Laura would like.
Well, I guess it all depends on who does it first. If you really jump ahead.
All right. Well, let's do this one step at a time. It all makes sense.
Yep.
It fits. Let's see what happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tokens on the map. Okay. Oh, somebody's super bright. Althea, I'll put you right there. Let me get this token off. The screen will go black for a second.
Well, I had actually turned down my my lighting for that.
Let me bring you over here, Alara. Right, let me put you right here, I think. Right there, and then I'll make you visible so you could see the damn map. Okay. And I'll put the skeleton on the table, even though he's not actually on the table. I'll put him there. And then Arthurian, where are you? I don't think you were in this dungeon, so let me grab your token. Drag you on here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to roll initiative.
My character's not even fully healed.
You did have a full night's sleep, right?
Yeah, but she still had quite a number of hit points still down.
Okay, Arthurian, you're right there. Somebody has the light. That's a light source we gotta get figured here. Who has the light source? Light spell? What's going on?
Yeah, it'll be me per usual. Cast light on feet as soon as we've entered a room with darkness.
I got dark vision. I don't worry about it.
Oh well, good for you, sir. The rest of us. I think it's actually just me. I have low light. Yeah, I think I had a torch before for some reason. I think maybe because I cast light on Marshall instead.
Yeah, you casted light on my shield.
Yeah.
So everyone will use perception. Yeah, we'll all use perception for your initiative, which is the default. Just go ahead and open your combat tracker and click on the die. The skeleton will go the same time as you, Alara. He shouldn't even be on here. Okay, let's click begin. Althea, you get your 3 actions, so you're going to be able to do stuff.
So this is immediately after it has been summoned, correct? Right?
Before
Althea's whipped around and sees this creature
Right.
on the other side of Arthurian.
And Alara, you're just in the midst of making a move towards getting in front of the skeleton. You're not there yet, all right? Because Althea's getting the jump on everybody with this spell. You're reacting to what she's doing by stepping forward. She's doing that action right now. You're probably not going to have enough time to get in front of the skeleton.
And seeing as Althea's in the next room over, she wouldn't have seen anything that had happened because she was like, oh look, the door's right over here. And so she's preoccupied with going into the next location, just trying to stay safe. She turns around and she just screams, they're coming to life! We're being attacked! It's an ambush! I take 1 foot inside the gauntlet and we get so far and we're being attacked. But then she casts Disrupt Undead. So the skeleton has to make a basic fortitude save with a DC of 20. And so since it's basic, I'll go ahead and roll my damage. That's a lot of dice.
Wow. Wow. Whoops. Made the wrong roll for... Where is it? All right. You lance the target with positive energy. All right. As this energy just appears before you and you're saying these words of Desna, it shoots towards this creature. You see this come right over your head, Arthurian. This energy, this blue energy pulse just, boom, appear before you and just crash right into this undead creature. And you kind of get pushed back a little bit from this Alara as you were about to step in front of it. It is hit. And as the energy just explodes, boom, the creature doesn't even look like it was affected. It stands there swaying back and forth as if it has some type of unnatural energy within it. It's standing. It took no damage. That was 2 actions. It did nothing. It did nothing.
Did it get a critical success? Because it's a DC 20.
It did.
Basic.
It did. It was only 20, DC 20. It got it. So, yeah.
All right. In that case, how come I can never click this to read what it says? But I'll just cast it. She's going to use guidance from the pendant on Arthurian.
Thank you, my lady.
Granting the target a +1 status bonus to 1 attack roll, perception, saving throw, or skill check before the duration ends, which is till the start of your next turn, Althea. So your mind is filled with this positive energy and good vibrations, Arthurian. You're feeling it.
You can do this. You will protect us all.
Butterflies dance around your head.
Colorful wings.
And with that, Arthurian, this positive boost, what do you do?
Hearing Althea not know, Arthurian's gonna look over. No, Alara summoned it. And he's gonna lay into the creature. $25.
Yep. You definitely hit. Let's see if it's critical. Save. Okay. It is not critical. So you got a normal hit roll damage.
8 points of slashing damage.
With your longsword.
Correct.
Alright. A series of slashing motions and stabs. I assume you're using slashing, correct?
Correct.
Alright. To cut into this beast and crack some bones. You do 8 points of damage. And as you do so, this creature's bones are shattered a leg, an arm, some ribs right straight down. And as it does so, it falls over and collapses to the ground. No longer moving.
Now, you said that Alara was trying to move to block the skeleton, right, dude? Okay. As she's moving, Fritz, can I sort of like trip her onto the ground or grapple her to the ground?
You can.
What do I need to roll that? I know it's an athletics.
Athletics check. Trying to grab her. We'll call it a grab.
I will re-roll that. Alright, so 15.
You lunge into her, but you lose your footing, and we'll assume you're both prone at this stage, since it's what you were intended to do. Kind of jump on her and hold her down a little bit. However, you can't get a good grab at her, and right when your arm comes around to get near her shoulder and head, she slips out. You don't have her grabbed.
Okay. I
So
got one more action. I'll do it again.
You do.
$23.
As she goes to try and stand up, you do grab her around the waist, and you do have a good hold of her. She is grabbed.
Grab her and flip her down.
So,
Althea, get out here.
So what you would do, Alara, on your token, right-click your token, click on the conditions there. It's on the right column, right under the Mystery Man symbol. It's the one in the middle. Exploding silhouette of a man. And look for the grabbed condition. They're in alphabetical order. And click that once with your left mouse button, and you will have the grabbed condition. There you go. When that's no longer applicable, you'll see the little icons appear on the right side of the screen near the chat area. Those are also your token symbols for conditions. All right, so it's an easy way to access them and see what applies without clicking your token. Just right-click them, and it will get rid of that condition. Okay? So right now, you are grabbed, and as a result, you're flat-footed, so your armor class is -2. And whatever that green thing is there at the bottom, immobilized. You can't move. You're also prone, but we'll just remember that. We don't have to make that condition applicable. You're both prone. Okay? All right, sorry, Arthurian. What were you doing else? You got her held, she's grabbed.
Got her help, she grabbed, my turn's over.
Okay, now we go to Alara. Now, you definitely feel the energy that filled this animated skeleton evaporate. It has no energy left. It has collapsed into what it was before the spell. All you know is you're being held tight by this dwarf who's got you held down on the ground. What's your move? You get 3 actions.
He's gonna try.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, go ahead, Fritz.
All right. Technically, we're in combat, but if you don't want to engage in combat and try and kill your friends, we can end the combat now. But if there's something else you want to attempt to do, we'll stay in combat. In initiative, I should say. You're up.
Seeing her minion destroyed, she begins to feel this absolute will of pure hatred, and she, instead of wanting to tear the dwarf on her apart, she swallows that rage and doesn't try to fight back.
You're seething inside. Your fangs get elongated even further. You feel it. You feel it pulse through your veins, this anger, this dark energy from within you. But you hold back somehow.
Now, Lassie, stop fighting. Stop it right now.
Now, since you're learning the game as well, being grabbed and immobilized doesn't mean you can't attack. You could actually attack. And this would have been a perfect time to just wrap your arm around Arthurian's neck and sink those fangs right into his neck. Because you do have that ability. And I like it. I can't wait till you use it. But no, that's not happening. You controlled yourself. Okay. And that'll end the round. I will come back to Althea before I do so. You're up. What do you do, Althea?
Oh, jeez.
She doesn't seem to be resisting too much Arthurian's hold on her. The skeleton has fallen and crumbled to the ground.
Well, I think Althea would run out of the room just to get a better idea of what's happened. And she'll like kind of rush out walking around everything. And she'll kind of hold her hands in like a readying stance to cast more magic. But she'll ask Alara, Arthurian says this is you. What does he mean? What does he mean? What have you done? These look like acts of evil. I want to trust you. And then I'll just end my turn like that.
And as she says this, you all, as you pause for a moment here after Althea says this, in silence, suddenly you all smell this overwhelming smell of something cooking. Food. Fresh food. And it seems to be coming from where Althea ran from, as if the air followed her into the chamber. It all hits your nostrils. Food, Arthurian. Freshly cooking food.
That's highly odd. At that point, Arthurian will release the grapple, sort of leaving her there laying on the ground.
Okay.
As he mantles up with his weapons in hand.
So what you do, Dizzy, is right-click those little symbols on your token. They're right next to your chat. Right-click them and I'll get rid of them. There you go. That's how you get rid of them. All right, I'll end the encounter. It doesn't seem like anybody's doing anything aggressive.
Arthurian's just standing there with his long sword drawn, looking at her.
What do you do, Alara? Anything? He's let go of his...
Seeing how he's let go of her, she'll slowly stand up. She won't brush herself off. She'll just stand at her full height. Look over at them with glowing eyes that are just bright red. Almost as if her eyes were like covered in blood. And in a unnervingly calm voice, she would say, I am a necromancer. The dead answer to my summon and beckoning.
How are you any better than the enemy?
You had allowed me to explain before you went and destroyed my minion.
Well, maybe you ought to have explained before you went and gone summon this shite. In case you
And it
haven't noticed, Lassie, we've lost 2 people to this, or 4
and
people to this thing already.
and most people who react to seeing me trying to raise the dead to help tend to react the same way you just did, and you did not give me a chance to explain. So I am not in the wrong here.
Oh, I beg to differ, Lassie. I have lost 4 friends to this foul necromancy in this gauntlet. 4. In the
Instantly
span of a week.
Alara instantly points to the door and she goes, the person that you're going to be fighting against down in those tunnels is another of your fallen companions. Yes, I get this. But what you do not understand is the dead do not listen to the living unless they are controlled, unless they are commanded. And right now, that creature that I had summoned was going to fight alongside of us to keep us alive.
Still should open your mouth before I got all heated about it. So how about next time, before you go popping off spells and reanimating this or that or this or who, how about you open your fucking mouth and say something? Be like, hey, by the way, I'm a necromancer, this thing's gonna help us.
I was getting ready to explain it and have the creature move to my side, but you did not give me a chance to explain.
Hell no, you explain first, then you do. That's how this works.
Althea,
Talk sense. Talk
Oh.
sense to this.
Althea,
I
just as this conversation is going on, you hear a loud boom, like something heavy just hit the floor, and it's coming from the south. There is a door in the south.
It spooks her and she jumps forward. And she says, we'll have to talk about this another time, but I'm fully with Arthurian on this one. These are the types of things that you talk to somebody about instead of just keep to yourself. We are in an extremely dangerous space. Don't just find a corpse and animate it. I have extreme concerns about this. This goes against every single thing I believe in completely. I don't care if this is for the sake of goodness. There is evil mixed within you, and I don't know if I can travel with you.
You'd be able to say this if you watched a Thurian fall and I tried to summon and raise him by my command. Would you still do that, or would you still continue here and argue with me?
You raise me,
Would it
girl.
even be Arthurian?
If you raise me, girl, I'll bury a blade in your neck. There ain't no ands, ifs, or buts. If I die, let me go.
For once, I agree with him about his talking about his demise. But nonetheless, I heard something in that southern door, and she points over to
Oh,
it.
great. Trot them little bastards out here. This dwarf is firing up now.
I think we've been making too much noise, and whatever's lurking down here might be onto us. So we either have to move elsewhere or confront whatever is on the other side of the door. And let me tell you, what was there last time nearly took us out.
Furian's gonna bellow, come on out, you wee little prancy.
Alara's gonna glare at both of them and be like, fine, I'm raising another.
See, that's all you fucking had to do. That's all you had to say.
You continue to argue with me, you're not gonna have any breath to battle whatever's coming, dwarf, so knock it off and shut up for once.
Oh, you keep running your mouth, girl, I'm gonna knock you down a size or two.
Then watch another companion of yours die.
I've already told you about 5 different times now, lassie. The next companion to die will be me. Not you, not you, not that skeleton. Me.
Well, looky here, you're standing right here and she's standing right there, and she heard the noise. If she moves towards the door, she's gonna be dead.
As she goes to leap toward the
I'm
door,
gonna go to the door.
Arthurian will
I'm gonna listen.
All right, blind perception check.
This
Oh.
got sideways in a hurry, Fritz.
Yeah, it did. There's a full-blown argument going on here.
Sorry, Diz. I'm sorry, but I had to play the character.
As this is going on and the sounds of noise are making it difficult to hear beyond this portal, Althea, although you can't hear any noises beyond, you do see light coming from underneath. Only briefly, and then it goes out. Something is beyond this portal. Perhaps lying in wait. Perhaps drawn towards the noise and commotion. What do you do?
He's just going to return back to the others and say, well, I'm going this way.
Alright, let's go put Marshall to rest. Arthurian will follow along behind her.
Laura's gonna stick her head in the doorway and go, I'm summoning another one.
Good, thank you for the warning. I won't kill this one.
You
You
could.
dwarves.
Fucking amateurs.
You could, but they've left.
Fucking children.
You could, but they've left you alone in the chamber. Now you're not. You have dark vision. It's okay, but I'm just saying you're alone in this chamber. And as you move away from this skeleton, which is ruined, there is one further down south. If you want to head down there and recast this spell, which you can do, there is another intact skeleton to do that. Now, Arthurian, you're heated. The blood's flowing. The veins in your forehead are starting to protrude. But immediately, when you set foot into this chamber, your nostrils are hit with the smell of cooking food, tasty meats. And your eyes immediately see along the west wall, towards the south of the wall, some type of stove. But there's no smoke, nothing cooking from it, but that's the stove. It seems to be the source of this smell. Althea, you as well. You can't help but not notice it.
I feel like this happened to me before when I was investigating, and nothing really became of it, but Althea will warn Arthurian, don't give in to it. There's something about this place, just let's keep moving.
Yeah, I gotta wait on the little Miss Prancy out there to get her foot out of her butt and get here with us.
Would Alara have heard that?
Oh yeah.
Specifically said it loud enough.
Alara would have said it back down at 10. At least I'm not the one who's got a sword shoved up his ass.
Oh, you're about to have a short sword shoved somewhere, lassie.
Are you going through with the spell?
He's gonna cast it again.
Lassie, Althea, if she don't make it out of these ruins, I had nothing to do with it.
If he drops and hits the floor,
believe
I
you.
had nothing to do with it either.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, so the spell goes off. The tendrils appear once again, weaving into the skeleton itself. It rises. It is unarmed, but it stands as if awaiting commands. Now, I'll leave the token there if something happens, but we can assume it's right next to you, following you, if that's what you want. All right? Now, what would you like to do? Go up into the chamber?
Where Laura goes to the chamber, she's gonna go over to the door that Althea mentioned hearing the noise. And she's gonna put her ear against the door to see if she can hear anything through the wood.
All right. You see a tall door with a rounded top, banded in black steel. It's not swollen. It's not very moist and wet down here, at least in this chamber. It is not locked, at least as far as you can tell. There's no big lock on there. You listen, you press your ear against the cold wood. Give me a blind perception roll.
You said blind perception.
Yes, blind perception roll. As you try to carefully listen while there's a moment of silence, what might lie beyond?
They will all die. They must die, intruders. I will get them. I will get them all.
Spoken in common. And then you hear footsteps, as if slowly sliding across the floor from left to right, from beyond this portal. Something is pacing about, speaking under its breath.
Laura's gonna back up, turn to her undead minion, and order it to stay close to her as she moves into the next room to tell the other two what she heard.
As you enter the chamber, you see Althea and Arthurian up towards the northern wall, where the wall itself is decorated with knives and spoons and forks, all twisted in different ways. They're not facing down the way you'd expect them to hang when you put them on pegs, but some of them are actually sideways or upside down. And they both stand there near the wall, quiet, as if they're thinking of something. And then it catches you. You too smell that smell of cooking food fill your nostrils. You smelt it outside the room briefly before, but it clearly is emanating from this chamber. Now, as you look at this room, Alara, you see that it is in fact some type of kitchen. There's a table in the middle, cleavers, cooking utensils not used in years, plates and bowls, a stove along the south wall. Nothing is cooking, but it seems the smell itself, if not coming from the stove, must be coming from the walls themselves. Something about this chamber, fresh food cooking, makes you kind of hungry. Do you shut the door behind you? Lara.
She leaves the door open.
Okay.
And immediately orders her summoned creature to step back.
Is he in the chamber with you?
No, he should be outside the door.
Okay. He does so. It scrapes along the stone floor. It doesn't enter the chamber.
Good, your little pet can stay there.
And the door is open. All right. Rachel, how are you on time? Because I know we're closing in. I don't want to go too far.
Yeah, I should be heading out.
You should.
About now.
You should stay, Rachel. You should stay.
I know.
You should stay for the epic PvP that's about to happen.
All right, let's finalize what we're gonna do here, and then we'll call it and do our outros and stuff. Because there's not much to do until you get beyond that portal. What would you like to do at this stage? You're right at this. If you remember, there is a secret door that if you actually it might still be open. If I recall, it still is. Let me roll to see if somebody shut it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did, but it could have also just shut on its own, or
It's open.
does the oracle say it's open? Oh,
It's
okay.
open. So, yeah, and I'll open that right now so you can see down there. And you see the natural cave walls that extend to the north up ahead. It was this corridor you ran from, you escaped. It was not too far from here, where Marshall's body rose again into some form of undeath. Danger lies ahead, you think to yourself, Althea. So I'll ask you one more time, what do you do?
Althea's holding the wall that just kind of pushed aside to open up this entryway. And her hand remains on it. I'm never up front. Why am I up front? I never make decisions. Why am I...
And as you
Why am
think
I
these
here?
words in your head,
She's pondering, and it's a little too long.
as you ponder
Long
these
enough the others
thoughts,
grow concerned.
as you ponder these thoughts, you can, and stick your head into the corridor, you feel a cold dampness slap you in the face. And you also hear, carrying on this little breeze of air coming forward, footsteps. Slow, methodical footsteps getting closer. From this corridor you're peering in, something is coming. Alara, as this skeleton stands before you, the door portal is open. Just as you are about to turn to look into the room once again to see Althea, you hear a door from the chamber from whence you were crash open. You hear something coming. Whatever was beyond that portal that you heard, talking to itself,
Death, revenge, kill the intruders.
is making its appearance known. Carefully you peer out the doorway, and there you see it. This slimy mess, a grotesque abomination of a creature coming towards you. It sees you, Alara, as you peer around the door. As footsteps come from the north as well. And that's
Did I
where
hear
we're...
the crash?
You can hear the crash. Everybody can hear it. Everybody heard that. Something opened a chamber door in the room you were just in.
Okay. Arthurian's gonna motion for Alara to get her and her little pet in here, and then he's gonna try to flip the table up and barricade the door.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to end the session, and we're going to start the next session with initiative. And that's going to determine whether doors are shut in time or not. Because all this is happening at once. And that's it. Shut the doors! Put up the barricades! Something is happening. Okay?
Sounds good.
Works for me.
Folks,
Argue door.
Folks, we're going to call the session here. We're going to have everybody do our outros. This was fun. I enjoyed this. Good role playing at the beginning once again, and then we're getting into it. We're getting into the depths of the Abomination Vaults, and boy, what a situation the party might very well be in right now, because they're dilly-dallying, making all this noise and racket. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Well, we don't know yet, but we're going to find out next time, I think. I think everybody's going to shut the doors and lock them, and they're just going to hide in here for a while till they go away. But anyway, I thank you guys for playing tonight. We'll do our outros. Althea, once again, great stuff. I love your character. I love Althea. Do your outro. What do you think?
Well, first of all, thanks for hosting another session.
You're welcome.
it was a good one. We got a lot of character conflict here, which was bound to happen with this cast. So
Yep.
just kind of play it out and remember that there's no hard feelings because we're all just playing the characters that we have.
Yes,
This isn't real life. We don't hate each other. But yeah, thanks again for hosting. I had a good time, and although won't be here on Sunday, we'll see about Saturday. And until then, have a good night.
All right, Rachel, thank you.
Yep.
And Arthurian, you're up. What'd you think?
Hello there, my friend. Had a really good time. A lot of really, really good stuff going on here. I told you that there'd be some maiming involved in the beginning. I just didn't think it would be this skeleton. But, you know, things happen. You've got a lawful good dwarf, a lawful good cleric, and a true neutral sorcerer. Necromantic bloodline. Yeah, it's a party. A lot of good character arc and character RP moments happening for sure.
Yep. Good stuff. I enjoy that.
I really had a really good time with it. I wasn't expecting it to go quite the way that it did, but you know, I gotta play Arthurian the way that he would want it. So, but yeah, a lot of good stuff, and we'll see what's gonna happen on Saturday. I'll try my best to run. We're gonna run and gun and maim you guys on the other campaign, and we'll see you guys there.
Awesome, Kyle. Awesome, Kyle. Oh, Laura, Dizzy, what do you think?
Definitely had an awesome time. Absolutely hilarious between the Sork and the fighter. Definitely good RP right there. I'm looking forward to more of it, and more than like they're gonna continue button heads as usual.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be butting heads with just about everyone in the party.
Oh, I know it. I'm looking forward to it.
That's twice Althea tried to kill you.
I mean, that's literally like the thing went down in one hit. Like I didn't even, you know, like I could have farted at that thing and killed it.
Yeah, that's because she's. Yeah, you got to get some levels and powerful. If she could heighten the spell, she'll allow her to summon something a little more powerful. But I don't.
She ain't there yet.
Yeah, she has to get that spell in the future when she gets more spells.
Getting there.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, folks, that's going to do our session. We're going to be back again soon with, guess what, episode 40. We might be playing Kyle's campaign next weekend. We'll see. Probably on a Saturday. And so if you guys watch this stream, I know some of you do, you'll be able to see that. But we'll see. This was good stuff. I enjoyed it. Folks, we're going to call it. We're going to end it here. Thanks for watching and everything else. You guys hang in there because it's only going to get better. We'll talk to you soon. Toodaloos. Toodaloo.